If you're separated from your partner, or you've been through a breakup or even a divorce, but you want to repair the relationship, there can be a temptation to try to do something dramatic, to try to get them to see you, to see your value. You may have even thought about doing the idea of no contact, where you stop contacting them altogether so that they miss you. But that advice is some of the worst advice out there. So in this video, I'm going to break down what no contact is, why it's so toxic, and what to actually do to draw your partner back to you. So you may have seen this advice on YouTube, TikTok, wherever, this idea of no contact, which is where you cut off all contact with your ex-partner to try to get them to miss you. It's kind of like a psychological mind trick to force your ex to sprint back to you because they miss you so goddamn much. The idea is that they will feel your absence and decide that life was better with you and will come running back to you. Now, this may sound tempting. After all, if you want your partner to come back and reconcile with you, then you want them to miss you, right? Problem is that no contact doesn't actually work. And even in the small amount of times that it does work, you're setting yourself up for an even bigger failure. So let's break down why that is. Well, firstly, the whole intent behind it is wrong. Cutting off contact with your ex to get them to miss you is coming from a really weak place of intent. Think about it. The intent is to force someone to feel something. It's to manipulate them into feeling some sort of emotion. So it's not them naturally missing you as a person. It's trying to control their emotions to feel something. So that intent itself is actually quite toxic. It's what my members and I call the paradox of control. Trying to push an outcome with a quick trick rather than putting the hard work in to actually make real differences and change in yourself. So, for example, rather than actually working on yourself to be a better partner, you're trying to play some cheap trick to try to get them to come back to you. It's insulting to your partner's intelligence, and it treats them like they are beneath you, like they're dumb. But worse than that, it actually continues the negative feedback loop that is currently happening. So their current point of view of the relationship is already negative, right? And that negative view of you will perpetuate and it will continue to move in that same direction. If you think about it, if there's no evidence to disprove those negative assumptions of you and the relationship, then that feedback loop will just continue to cycle and cycle and cycle. With no contact, they don't have any counter evidence to their negative emotions. So that cycle won't slow down. So let's say, for example, the last thing a friend did to you was steal from you. You may have moments in the future where you miss them, but it will immediately be met with the memory of them stealing from you, right? Those negative emotions will take a long time to process, if ever. You know, if you leave someone with negative feelings, the chances are they're not simply going to deeply process their feelings and decide that actually it was totally cool what you did. So with no contact, there will be nothing to stop that negative feedback loop from continuing and increasing dramatically. But also the reason why no contact doesn't work is that it shows your partner that you're more attached to the relationship than you are to your own growth, right? So for example, if you're posting selfies on social media, going out with your friends, socializing, or hanging out with the opposite sex or the same sex, depending on your relationship, if your partner sees that and sees that you're not wanting to have any contact with them, it kind of tells them that you're not really reflecting on how to grow, change, and become better. You're trying to appear high value rather than actually learning how to become high value. And if you do want a deeper dive, and I've actually touched a lot about the idea of this being a high value man in a video, which I'll link to above and in the description down below. But basically because of this no contact, it kind of confirms your partner's point of view that if they were in contact with you, then any changes that you will have made will be based on appearances. And that deep down, you're likely to still be the same person and still bring the same problems and challenges to the relationship. But let's say that this no contact does work and it does bring your partner back to you. The truth is that it won't last. If your partner does miss the good times with you and after no contact decides to reconcile, this reconciliation will not last for very long. The reason why is that unless you've dug in and made deep changes within yourself, the way you act, the way you think, the way you operate, those discords between you will still be there. So let's say, for example, your partner comes back to you. They will still have a lot of hurt and pain that they will have within them. We call these emotional discords. Your partner will at some point want to be able to express these discords to you, their feelings, talk about their feelings and the problems that they felt in the relationship. If you haven't truly built those skills, tools to be able to handle these conversations, then you're going to respond in the same ways that you responded in the previous version of the relationship. You're going to crumble under pressure. You're going to act toxically. You're going to act emotionally. You're going to destroy the emotional safety and set your relationship back even further than before. So even in the small times that no contact works and draws your partner back to you, you're going to set yourself up for complete failure. So what is the solution to no contact? What is the alternative to do? And before we jump in, if you do want more videos like this, then feel free to subscribe to the channel for new videos every single week. Well, first of all, if they have requested no contact, then show respect and understanding as to why they don't want to have contact with you. So be vulnerable, take responsibility, and be honest when you respond to that request. Saying something like, hey, I can understand why you'd want no contact right now. I think I've acted maybe toxically or negatively in the past, so you may feel like scared or worried that I'm going to keep acting like that. I want to reflect and change so that in the future I don't make you feel like that. So I'll hold off contacting you for now, but I am here if you need anything, and hopefully we can speak in the future. Responding with something like this shows that you have the emotional maturity to be able to reflect that you need to make some changes in the way that you acted in the relationship, and that you're focused on growing rather than simply just trying to stay in contact to keep someone around. Next, it's important to focus your effort and energy on making changes, not short-term fixes. So a lot of people will go out and, try and party, build back their self-esteem with a lot of external things, buy themselves something, clothes shopping, hanging out with people who will tell you, screw your ex, they don't know what they've lost, all that sort of stuff. All of this feels really good in the moment, but it doesn't actually address anything within yourself. You can make many, many external changes. You can change your hair, your clothes, your body, but it still doesn't fill any internal voids that you have. Any self-esteem issues, any communication challenges, any emotional management that you have. So focus on making the right changes. And instead of forcing no contact, humble yourself with your partner and actually have conversations with them about where you think you may have fallen short in the relationship and where you're looking to improve. When you are talking with your ex-partner, be honest in conversations with them about where you think your blind spots have been. But again, do this from a place of genuine humility and empathy, because they'll be able to smell insincerity from a mile off. This is why it needs to come from a genuine place. The way that they'll be able to tell if you're insincere is that if you are genuinely looking to improve yourself, they'll be able to give you negative feedback or criticism about how you've acted in the past. If your intent is to grow, then you'll be able to welcome this feedback. If your intent is to show off, then you'll crumble and start getting defensive, blaming them, etc. So it's really important to not use these conversations to show off or, trying to talk a big game about how much work you're doing. To be able to talk to your partner in the right way and to be able to still be able to display your changes without being braggy or showing off. And these are the skills that I work on with my ultra normal members. Learning how to validate, learning how to ask the right questions and be able to navigate the conversation and handle any negative, tough truths, any pushback from your partner. And obviously there's only so much detail that I can dive in a YouTube video. So if you do want a deeper dive into all of this, then join me on my free relationship bootcamp, where you'll learn the tools and skills to navigate these conversations and build yourself a thriving relationship from the ground up. So click on the link in the description to grab your place today. So of course, no contact is not the way to go, but being constantly in contact is also bad. Right? One thing to be very aware of is going the exact opposite way and start chasing your partner, trying to persuade them. So it's important to learn the right conversational skills in order to be able to navigate and master having conversations in the right way. To be able to balance all of the many moving parts of taking responsibility, to be able to talk to your partner in the right way without being braggy or showing off. And of course, when it comes to pursuing your partner, it's important not to fall into the trap of no contact, but it's important not to fall into the trap of chasing your partner and trying to persuade them to come back. So if you do want a deeper dive into how to handle this balance, then I will leave you with this video right here. I'll see you over there.